Am I good? Now if I can...
Hey guys, this is
We're good. Good morning, neighbors. It's Michael with Good Morning Neighbor Live here at beautiful Village on the Park. And this morning, I'm excited as our show gets underway to have both Ian Rude and his lovely wife Laura with us from Nuclear Health and Fitness. And Ian, welcome to the program. Thanks for coming on. Laura, thanks for coming as our guest as well this morning. And just excited to have both of you out. So how are things going, Ian, with the business? And my goodness, you've been kind of from one end of the state to all the way into Texas and back. So talk to us a little bit about what's been going on with Nuclear.
Absolutely. So we did just get back from a training conference in Texas, and a couple of things happened there. Laura became certified as a NuFit provider.
Fantastic. Congratulations, Laura.
And she did absolutely wonderful down there. She's going to be great at this. Primarily, she's going to work on fitness.
Okay.
And probably stay away from more of the rehabilitation cases.
Okay.
I'll handle more of that. But,
all right.
We've already started doing Saturday classes. We're getting a great reception for it.
Saturday classes.
Yep.
You're able to get people. I'd like to know how you're getting people out of bed in the morning.
Group fitness. We
Group
just tell
fitness,
them
there
that
we
we
go.
can, increase the benefits of your exercise anywhere from 200 to 200%, and we leave it at that.
There you go. Well, that makes them get out in the morning, that's for sure. Well, that's fantastic. So talk to us a little bit about how things are going in the world of rehabilitation. I mean, I've seen some wonderful video clips of folks that you've just been able to do great things with, and I've been excited, especially with your new technology that you've got and really just some of the videos you've had out. I've been really kind of watching your Facebook page, so hats off to you for doing that. It's a great education to the folks out there as well. And I was really excited last time you were on. I think we talked about the doctor that really had some mobility issues, got him up and walking again.
Out of a wheelchair.
Then I've seen Val with Profile by Sanford getting her arm. She had some arm surgery, shoulder surgery, I believe. Yes, so done great with that. But the neatest one I saw was how you got Laura and I think another lady, including Val in there. I think there were 3 of these ladies that were doing squats, if you will. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that hurt me just watching it.
So we've had a couple of interesting progressions since the last time I was on the show. We've had another individual come out of a wheelchair.
Okay.
And that's the mother of a small business owner here in Northwest Arkansas that you and I network with.
Okay.
So really excited about that. And then another friend that we used to work for the same company. She got out of emergency medicine and got into personal training. And actually sprained her knee. And so she went through all this rehab, did all this stuff. She still wasn't able to get weight on it. And so that was the individual that you saw in one of our videos.
Yes.
And she is now doing altitude drop squats off of a chair. So
I
you step
saw
off of
that.
a chair and land in a squat.
Land on a squat.
No pain in the knee.
Oh my goodness.
So,
wow, fantastic.
We've been able to incorporate lunges and squats with her, and again, this has been a long-standing issue. She said she went back to the gym. She's able to lift again.
Fantastic. How long are you generally seeing kind of those results? And I know it varies person to person because there's different levels of kind of not only pain, but there's different levels of trauma to the body. So you really have to kind of evaluate that and look at the overall picture. And so it does vary from person to person.
There's so many factors, like we talked about the last time that I was on the show, that go into that, be it diet, where somebody is at in their spirituality, how somebody manages stress, and just what their day-to-day looks like.
Sure.
If you're constantly wake up in the morning and you're pounding double espressos and then driving to work tight and frustrated by the time you get there, and then you fight with your boss, come home, fight with your wife, get a horrible night's sleep, and then wake up in the morning and move wrong and sprain your ankle, it's probably going to take longer for that person to rehabilitate that injury because their body is not in a state to promote healing from a state of the nervous system. And
Well, I've often wondered about the energy drinks, and I see a lot of people, quote unquote, as you just said, pounding those from the back of the store the minute they get them in the cart to the front of the stores they're checking out at the register. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's unreal how much they're just, doing that. But I guess, you know, unfortunately our society today has gotten into such a rush that, you know, everything is just immediate. And so if we're not staying awake for 24 to 48 hours, then all of a sudden we feel like we're behind. And our bodies aren't built that way. Our bodies are built to rest.
Exactly.
And so, but this morning, you've got Laura here to kind of walk through a little bit of a demonstration. Laura, I know you're in good hands with your husband, and I had made a little bit of a comment earlier that I was laughing about because Ian was standing behind me when we were looking at videos, and I said to Jeremy, my producer, about, you know, well, at the moment, Ian's still married, that's up in the air, but no. So with my wife, like I told you, it's always funny. It's kind of a day-to-day thing, sometimes a minute-to-minute. So at this point, you're here. You're ready to do the demonstration. We're excited. I guess, you know, if something goes wrong, you've got that good knee and leg kick, you know, if you have to. So anyway, so Ian, I'm going to let you demonstrate, talk to the folks about what you're going to do here, and then we've got some videos I want to show here in just a little bit, folks, to some great training that Ian had done here, I think earlier, kind of early to mid to late March. You were on this little training event down in Texas, I believe, or maybe it wasn't Texas, but
Austin.
Yeah, Austin.
Yeah.
So based on that, we'll show some of those videos after the demonstration. So I'm going to step back and let you demonstrate.
So what really sets us apart is that we look at fitness and we look at rehabilitation from a neurological perspective, and we look at pain as an output from the brain, not an input. So everything that we do is designed to exhibit a level of stress on the body and teach you to manage that stress so that you can go about your activities of daily living uninhibited, because the stress that you've encountered with us is easily greater than what you're going to experience throughout the day.
Okay.
So we're not going to use any weight for our resistance training. We're going to use the newbie, and we're going to stimulate Laura's nervous system.
Okay.
So Laura, let me know when you're about a 7. Okay. And I'm going to have you go ahead and bend forward, hinge at the hips, stretch out your hamstrings.
And this is designed, again, to do a good stretch, a good kind of loosening of the muscles. And
So not necessarily loosening, because
Okay.
loose muscles can cause injury too. What
Okay.
we're doing right now is elongating the muscles.
Okay.
Warm muscles will stretch better than cold muscles,
Okay.
so muscles that don't have any blood flow. The nice thing about this machine is, for a warm-up, we're promoting circulation right now.
Okay.
And we're also promoting what's called eccentric contraction. So you have two different types of contraction. You have concentric, which is shortening,
Okay.
and you have eccentric, which is elongation.
All right.
That's where you want to train your body to stay whenever you're functioning, to prevent exercise, because otherwise your muscles will shorten and you'll increase impact to the joints.
Ah. So for people, as an example, Ian, I could be wrong in what you just explained, but for people who sit long time in a chair at an office, what is the best thing for them to do at that point?
Absolutely, I encourage people to get up and move around throughout the day, because they have actually coined a term for what they are considering the sitting disease for people who spend 8 to 10 hours a day in a chair.
Okay.
And I've got things that I post all day about the perils of sitting.
Okay.
And mostly whenever we see people come in with lower back pain, if they've got hamstrings that they're constantly pulling, or if they just have weakness, poor posture, anything like that, we can usually attribute it to sitting for long periods of time
Okay.
and developing atrophy in those muscles.
All right.
So Laura, with your glutes and your hamstrings, I'm going to have you pull up, and then very quickly I'm going to have you pull down into a squat using your hamstrings. You're going to stop at 90 degrees, and then stand back up in the same fashion. Okay, I want to see that faster. There you go. Back up, down, back up, 2 more. Good.
Fantastic.
Okay, so catch your breath. Now I'm going to demonstrate how I would train somebody to be able to do a squat, so let me know when your knees lock. Okay, do you feel like you would be able to squat if you had to? Do you feel like it would take effort to pull yourself into a squat position? go ahead and pull yourself into a squat position. So now she's going to have to activate her glutes and her hamstrings to pull herself down into that position.
Okay.
And then as she stands up, she's going to have to use her quad muscles on the front of her leg to pull in opposition to the hamstring.
Okay.
So go ahead and do that one more time. Pull down and then back up.
Now, the purpose, Ian, for the machine, what is the machine helping her do? Just as you said, elongate the muscles at that point.
That and the machine is stimulating her body's own internal processes.
Okay.
So right now, even as she's standing here, I'm sending signals through her nervous system.
Okay.
Her muscles, you can see her muscles are still contracting and elongating.
Okay.
500 times per second.
Okay. All right.
And so she's getting all the benefits of exercise literally just standing here.
Okay.
Then we're going to add an exercise component, and we're going to get an increase in metabolism. We're going to get an increase in energy expended.
Okay.
But the machine is also going to cause those muscles to elongate and reset and give her more energy so that they can contract harder next time she goes into an exercise.
Fantastic.
So one more time, very, very quickly. And back up.
Okay.
5.
Wow.
Speed and control.
Look at that. That is absolutely amazing.
Good job.
Fantastic. Unbelievable. Jeremy, if we could roll the tape with Ian and Lauren on their second day, I believe it was, at the event that they were at in Austin at the training. I think Ian gives us a little bit of insight as to how things are going there with, it's the picture with Lauren. So we're rolling that now. Yes, there we go.
So this was our booty workout
Okay.
that we did in Austin. And it started with
Now I'm already in pain. I'm looking for Dunkin' Donuts and I don't see them, so I'm already in pain here.
and it gets worse when you have the newbie on.
Obviously, I see people sweating, so that must be a...
So here we were just describing everything that,
Yes, so
that we were
here's-
learning. Altitude drop push-ups. So
Okay.
the goal here is to fall to the
Now-
floor and turn your muscles on very, very quickly.
Now, we have a special guest with us today, David from Mojo Cycling, and I think he does all these different things, kind of the drop and the jump up out of the position and, then onto the bike. I think he actually does some handstands on the bike as the bike is moving. But
Altitude drop push-up to
exactly.
squat jump
Yeah.
to land
Yeah.
on the bike in a full sprint and pedal. Yes.
David's actually going to demonstrate that today with his bike. Anyway, we have to have fun here. So,
Absolutely.
at this point, yeah.
If parkour is in your field house, we work with people on plyometrics, and we do work with people on things like altitude jumps to be able to increase more force. So some of the videos that we put out, you can see people are taking a 5-pound barbell, and they're going from a bicep curl, coming down. They're literally letting go of the bar, letting the bar fall, and then they're driving back up through the bar.
Oh,
so
wow.
that you can teach yourself to absorb more force and kinetic energy through your muscles, and it helps you develop speed, a great deal of speed and control. And that's, if there was one point that I could drive home, you don't have to be the biggest person in the room to be the strongest person in the room. Speed and finesse are strength as much as mass and brute force. And
So you can take an out-of-shape guy like me and get them to do what she just did.
Yes.
My
And we
goodness.
teach people to do this all day long.
Oh, wow. Oh, well,
With this.
I feel like I've already broke something just watching you here. No, this is absolutely where healing in our healthcare is going. And this is fantastic, Ian, because this is what it's about. It's done naturally, it's done the right way, it's not putting a lot of pills in your system. And I know there's a time and place for pills at the end of the day, but for the most part, 99% of it should be what you're doing and
That's-
healing people. And my goodness, the greatest testimony I think you had was with the doctor who was basically in a position where he wasn't mobile anymore. And then all of a sudden he's like, wow, I'm not feeding myself pills. I've got a machine that is getting me back to a standing position.
Yes.
So fantastic. Ian, thank you so much for being on the program. Laura, thank you so much. I appreciate, just what you and Ian both are doing. And Ian, where can the folks find you? That's most important. Where
Absolutely.
can they find you?
We're in Bentonville,
Okay.
at the corner of 102 and J, basically in Pinnacle Plaza.
Okay.
Right across from Bentonville Public Schools Administration. And if anybody would like more information, feel free to call us at 501-500-1663, or you can go to www.neuclear.fit, nuclear.fit.
And you also have a Facebook page as well.
We do.
And
It's
how can they
Nuclear
reach
Health
you
and
there?
Fitness.
There you go. All right. Folks, thank you for joining us on this particular segment of Good Morning Neighbor. We will be right back with my good friend Mike, executive director here at Village on the Park in Bentonville. Wonderful retirement community that we do our filming from each and every week. Come on out, folks. Also, Mike and I are going to be talking about a wonderful event they've got for Easter to bring everybody out to. We'll be right back in just a minute.
Hey guys, this is Ian with Nuclear Health and Fitness located here in beautiful Bella Vista, Arkansas. I wanted to take a moment and give you guys the opportunity to see a session I did today with one of our clients who happens to be a golfer. He brought in a golf swing trainer that gives a digital readout at the head of the club of the miles per hour velocity of your swing. And with this particular device, they've said that if you can increase your swing by 8 miles an hour in 20 days, you're doing really good, and that should add 20 yards to your golf swing. Check out the following video and see what we were able to do in an hour utilizing our newbie device.
Worse. 86.
86. 86.
Two. 92. 92. 91. 97. 93. 93. 93. 93. 94. 92. I think I'm getting tired.
Okay. So when we started out, you were 84 to 86.
8 miles
8
per hour more on your club head speed would equal 20 extra yards.
Okay.
So if we're at 92, we got the full 8 in an hour. Not 20 days, an hour. So yeah, awesome.
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 And we're back. Thank you, folks, for joining us this morning on Good Morning Neighbor. I want to thank my good friend Ian Rude with New Clear Health and Fitness. What a great time. I'll tell you, folks, you've got to get out, see that machine. If you're having any type of health issues, Ian can walk you through really how to get back on your feet and be mobile. In the meantime, however, I'm joined this morning by my great friend Mike, Executive Director here at Village on the Park. Mike, glad to have you with us this morning.
Good to be here. Thanks.
And I'll tell you, you have got some amazing things that have been going on around here. I just, here it is, spring. I think we're in 80-degree weather.
Oh, man.
I think, yes, but I think our friend Pakistani Phil bypassed us on spring. I think we've headed to summer already.
Yeah. It's going to get cold tomorrow, though, they said.
See?
Upper 40s, I think. So.
There you go. So we'll break back out the long sleeves and,
Yeah.
and go at it. So, but I'll tell you, you're getting things ready for outdoors. You've got, here at Village on the Park, you've got so many things to do outdoors, be able to sit outside, enjoy the park areas that you have around here, the cottages. What beautiful homes that you have here for the cottages.
They are.
You have how many of those cottages here?
We have
total?
31 cottages.
31. And now there's about, what, 10 of them that are available? 9 of them?
Yeah.
No.
So there's still some available, but
Wow.
they're just beautiful. They're the right size for a couple. 1,457 square feet, 2-bedroom, just a perfect size. And we do housework for you. We 2 meals a day. We do the yard work. So,
I'm ready to move in. I keep
yeah.
telling my wife, but she's like, yeah.
Stress-free living.
Stress-free living.
Only
That's-
requirement, you have to be 62 or above.
Well, then that's why she says,
Yeah.
because I'm not there yet. But I keep thinking I'll get there pretty soon.
Yeah.
So, my goodness, you've got some events coming up. April 11th, we've got an Alzheimer's event coming up. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, and that's where we're going to have an Alzheimer's experience.
Okay.
Where we will sit down, and you're talking about the one here, or you're talking about the Schmeeding Center?
The Schmeeding Center
Yeah,
one.
the Schmeeding Center is an Alzheimer's. I'm not real familiar with what's going on,
Okay.
but it's an Alzheimer's. Just talk about how you can be aware of what Alzheimer's people go through. and
Okay.
stuff. We're having an event
Yes.
here this Thursday, actually tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Where somebody is coming in and each of our staff will put on goggles and we'll go through the experience of what somebody with Alzheimer's is experiencing so we can better take care of somebody with Alzheimer's.
Oh, fantastic.
So we do all types of stuff where it's training in-house, training at the Schmeeding Center, and just, so we want to, Alzheimer's is such a tragic disease. I'm also helping serve on the committee for the Alzheimer's Walk coming up this fall.
Fantastic.
So we'll have that going on.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit. Do you kind of know the dates of that?
I don't know
Not
the
yet?
dates. I should have looked at that.
Yeah, no
It's
worries.
usually in the fall.
It is, you're right. And, you're right. It is a debilitating disease, but you have a memory care unit
We do.
here. And you really tackle some of these memory care issues from Alzheimer's to even Parkinson's that affects memory as well.
Yeah, a lot. Several of our residents have Parkinson's, and some people aren't even aware that they have Parkinson's. But Alzheimer's is a form of dementia.
Yes.
But ours is a dementia unit. We're certified with the state, so not everybody's certified. They may say we have a memory unit, but they're not all certified by the state.
And you're right. That's the key right there.
And you have to go through certain training and all this type of things. But it's an 18-bed unit. It's
Okay.
in the building. So that's one of the advantages that we have is that some of the freestanding Alzheimer's memory care units are freestanding, but we have the advantage, say a couple comes in and one has dementia and one doesn't. The one spouse can stay out in the regular AL or assisted living side, and the other one can stay in the dementia unit, and then they can go back there and spend the whole day together.
And the nice thing about it too is you're absolutely right. You even have a dining facility in that memory
Right.
care unit.
It's a secured unit, so
Right.
they a lot of times when you progress in the disease, they want to wander off, and so you don't want
Okay.
that to happen.
No. No.
So it's a secured unit, but they have their meals back there. If a family member comes and visits them, they can bring them to the regular dining room if they'd like to eat. But and we have all kinds of activities that are geared towards with people with dementia. We've gone through the IN2L, which means it's never too late.
Yes, it's never too late. And
We have that program. It's never too late, and they go through its computer. It has thousands of different games and activities on it.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you too, again, going back to kind of the food we were just touching on, you have a wonderful director of dining services,
Yes.
Corey.
Yes.
Fantastic guy. I'll tell you, just the food that he cranks out of that kitchen, both for the memory care unit as
Yeah.
well as over here in the dining area, and then out to the cottages.
Oh.
I think that's neat that the folks at the cottage have their own kind of dining facility as well.
They do, and
And-
they're it's a separate building, a clubhouse.
Yes.
And it's a community. We try to build community, but the food is excellent.
Ah.
My wife, I go home and her first question to me every day is, "What did you eat for lunch?" Because I tend to eat too much for lunch. And
Well.
today our meal is French dip.
Oh.
Yesterday I wanted to eat dinner here so bad last night before I left because it was salmon and cream spinach, and it looked so good. So
You
we were
know,
very blessed.
Corey and I have been talking and trying to calibrate calendars to where I can weekly or a couple of times a month even show the folks what wonderful food is being turned out
Right.
at this facility, because I really think that's what it gets down to. Folks wonder about the care. They wonder about how their loved ones are being, taken care of in terms of eating and also security. And
Okay.
this is a secure facility. It's a wonderful facility. You offer everything from A to Z here. And I think you've got another great event coming up.
We do.
That is kind of an Easter egg hunt, and
Yeah.
everybody from out in the communities are welcome to come and see if they can keep ahead of Jared in placing the Easter eggs on the grounds out there.
Yeah.
Jared will have the key on where he placed all those Easter eggs, so
Yeah.
you may have to watch him and keep him from getting all the kids riled up for not getting those Easter
I'm telling
eggs.
you
But,
what.
but talk to us a little bit about the excellent adventure that you've got going
Excellent
on.
adventure community event. And Easter is such an important time to the Christian religion.
Yes.
Easter is where we celebrate Christ rising from the dead.
Exactly.
And so we want to celebrate Easter. I don't know where the Easter Bunny came into play, but for the kids, they look forward to the Easter Bunny.
They do.
They look forward to looking for eggs and stuff. So we're going to have an event here on Saturday
Okay.
before Easter.
Okay.
So it's April 20th from 2 to 4.
All right.
We're going to use our courtyards because we don't
Oh,
want
they're beautiful.
any risk of somebody getting out on the highway or anything. So we have 4 courtyards.
Okay.
We're going to have 2 blow-up bouncy houses. they call
Oh,
it,
fantastic.
for the kids. And in the other courtyards, we're going to hide eggs. And so come out. There'll be candy in the eggs and things like that. I don't know if there'll be any big dollar money eggs, but maybe we'll put a few in there. But we're going to hide eggs and just have a good time. So for a
Excellent.
couple of hours, and we're inviting the whole community. And we have neighborhoods on either side of us and all of it. So just come out, have a good time, no cost. You can see our community
Yes.
and what we have to offer.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things I love is just as you talked about, you've got 2 other communities that kind of encompass or circle around you, and the walking trail that is behind your facility
Yeah.
as well. Beautiful, that goes into the park that's actually back here.
I'll tell you
And
what,
so-
what our advantage is where we're located. We are a little bit out of town, but it's a growing part of the
Oh,
community.
it is. It is.
Bentonville is growing this direction.
It is. It's coming
And if
this
you-
way.
And if you go west of us, huge Walmart distribution centers and brand new ones. But behind us it's part of the POA of that neighborhood back there, but it's a pond with fish in it.
Yes.
And our community built the walking trail and the sidewalk around it.
Well-
So we can use it anytime for anything.
Well, if you could get Jared out there to do a little exercise from time to time, we'd be in good shape.
We'll get Jared to get on his scuba diving gear and go look for golf balls.
Golf balls in the lake out there, Jared today is sporting a wonderful Easter colored shirt.
It is,
And
yeah.
it is quite bright green. I think really he could be a crossing guard out here at the front of the...
He's our GQ model that we
He
try
is fashion. He
Yeah.
is fashion oriented. And so step in here, Jared, and let the folks see this
at that.
wonderful.
Look at
Look at
that.
that.
There
That
we
green.
go.
There you go. Yeah. If we're going to get a photo bomb in here, it's best to get Jared.
Yeah. But we appreciate you guys coming out every week. This is
well.
such a great time, and we love hosting you guys.
Well, and we can't appreciate you because of your recognition and in the community, we've grown our audience here with our program, and it's really due in part to you guys as well.
And the guests you have on, I was actually talking to Ian a while ago
Yes.
about some my mom's in Central Arkansas, and he gave me some recommendations of some things to do for her in Central Arkansas. So,
Exactly.
Great guest that you have.
Well, and we've got our good friend David from Mojo Biking that's going to be up here in just a few minutes. Jared told me to go get him because Jared's been an avid mountain biker from what I understand. He's kind of a closet mountain biker from what I understand. So. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Jared just said his mountain bike is in the closet, so that's why we call him the closet mountain biker. But anyway, no, so we're excited about these events, Mike. And again, can't thank you. This is a beautiful facility, and I encourage everyone to come out for the excellent adventure on April 20th. Get a look at this place, because if you've got questions and wondering about, I've got my mom and dad, their memory is not going as well, or they're still in great shape, but it's just time to give up the house. It is time. And this is a place that, like you said, Mike, it's got everything from A to Z. It's really encompassed living at its finest, and apartments, a movie theater. I forgot to mention the movie theater. You guys show some great movies too, so that's fantastic.
And it's a great place. We'd love you to come out and eat lunch with us someday. Give us a call. We'll feed you lunch so you can see what our food tastes like.
And speaking of that, how can they reach you?
Call us at it's 479 area code at 254-3650. And you can talk to our concierge up front.
Okay.
Schedule an appointment. Ask for myself, Mike Gross, or Jared Sanders.
Okay.
Or go to our website to get more information, which is villageontheparkbentonville.com.
Bentonville, because you have a Rogers.
We have a
location
Rogers
as well.
one also, so both are Village on the Park, but we're Village on the Park Bentonville.
There you go. There you go. And you have a Facebook page.
We do have a Facebook page. So.
Fantastic. All right. Mike Gross, thank you so
very
much
much
for coming on the program. I know sometimes your schedule's very hectic and busy, and I just appreciate you taking time with us.
Thank you.
And well, folks, we will be back in just a few minutes with our next guest. See you shortly.
I was looking for a place where my mom would be safe, and where if she fell, I knew somebody could get to her. I needed to know she could get her food, her meals. I needed to know that she wasn't alone and lonely.
It's tailored, it's individualized. Every resident seems to get what they need individually, and there is a real concern for what that individual need is. And there are people here to accommodate that without being condescending, and really lifting up the resident. That makes a huge difference.
Coming here and be able to share your life together and become an extended family for each other. It's what's really been great for us. We love it.
I think my mother really feels very much at home. She loves her living space. She has a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, very cozy place. All of the things that she loves that really, really worked are there in place in a beautiful way.
The people around here are so friendly and willing to do most things, and they have so many activities for us planned every single day. They give us a activities chart every month, even for the restaurant. They give us a menu every day. Every week we get a new menu, so we know what we're going to eat.
I can't tell you how my mom she's just blossomed. She's so happy here, and she looks 10 years younger. She's walking much more. She got no exercise at her home. She's walking all over the place, and she's become very social, which I never thought my mom was very social. And she just, it's saved her life. It really has.
Hey, good morning. It's Carrie Perrin-Smith, and I'm happy to be here this morning with Mark Flake. He is executive broker with Reichert Realtors, the Griffin Company. And so right here in Northwest Arkansas, it's been a healthy real estate market for both investors and buyers and sellers. We're so blessed. We're so blessed to have such a great economy here that does well in bad times and good times. And especially the last few years, we've just seen more growth. So with people moving in and out, really gives us an opportunity to look at investment property. And so I thought we would talk with Mark this morning about the ins and outs of investment property from the real estate professional's perspective. So welcome, Mark.
Well, thank you for having me.
So for people, that are thinking about investment property, what are the things that they need to think of? There's some risk, right?
There's definitely risk, it's just like there would be with any investment. So you have to think about what your risk tolerance is. There are pluses and minuses to it. You don't have the liquidity of stocks or money markets, but you still do have some control over your property, which with stocks you don't have control over your property. So it's just a part of maybe an overall investment strategy some people use, and really it's something any investor should explore with a tax professional or attorney, as well as with an agent that they're going to talk to about it.
Exactly. Now, what are some of the realities of being a property investor?
The realities are that you really have to know, and some of this is opinion based, but if you're not going to be a house flipper, on the TV shows, all the rage is, flip this house.
Yeah.
If you're not going to be a house flipper, that's a full-time job. It's not easy to go out and find flipper houses. Most real estate investors are in it for the long term. So I would say that a long-term perspective is probably something you need to look at first, unless you're going to be a professional house flipper, which is a whole different ballgame.
Right.
But for somebody who's working their regular career and who wants to add investment property to their portfolio, rental properties, then they need to be looking at a long-term plan and not thinking short-term.
Right. I mean, and there are properties that create cash flow, and then there's properties that, are more of a long-term investment. And I guess it comes down to when you're going to sell it.
Yeah, that does come down to it. Are you looking to have, I have investors that are looking to have, 5 or 6 rental properties paid for by the time they retire, so they can continue to cash flow, or sell them for a chunk of money at the end. It just depends on their individual strategies. So some people are looking to cash flow right off the bat. Other people are just wanting properties that pay for themselves, and then maybe have some capital appreciation over time.
Right. Now, as a realtor, there's 2 different areas that you really focus on: the helping investors get into properties that make sense for them, but also property management. Talk to us about property management services that you provide.
Well, aside from being a straight plug for what I do, managing properties, in general, a property manager's responsibility is to take the worry, or as much worry as possible, away from the investor. Most investors have another full-time job, and things can go wrong with their properties at any time. If your water heater blows up at 10 o'clock on a Friday night, who's going to take care of it? Well, your property manager is going to be the one taking care of it for you.
Right.
So it's everything from tenant acquisition to screening, which is of high importance if you're doing residential rental property, all the way to managing and just taking care of the tenant's daily needs, and
right.
Making it as worry-free for the investor as possible.
Right. And I think that's an important thing, is that screening piece. Sometimes the credit score tells volumes, and sometimes it doesn't, and it's like, how do you know?
You never know for sure, but
yeah.
You just make it as rigorous as you can, and then hope you pick the right person. And some of that comes with experience, and sometimes, like you said, people can look great on paper and be terrible tenants. That happens occasionally. So as a real estate investor, you have to realize that going in, there's always a risk that somebody's going to damage your investment, no matter how well they're screened.
Well, and there's all kinds of things. Storms happen, ice storms, and you could have a major windstorm, and sometimes if you live somewhere else, because there are investors who invest in our region who do not live here.
No, they may not realize what can happen, but insurance is there to take care of that business.
That's right.
Hiring
the contractors,
it's another piece of the puzzle. Making sure that you've talked with your tax advisor or tax attorney, because real estate agents are not we're not appraisers, and we're not certified financial planners, and we're not tax attorneys, so we don't know everybody's specific situations. We're not insurance agents. We just try to guide people in the right direction. Make sure your insurance agent knows this is an investment property.
Right.
To make sure if it's vacant that your insurance agent knows it's vacant.
Exactly.
They may not pay a claim on a property they didn't know was vacant.
Yeah.
So these are things that you have to ask other professionals as you're considering investing in property.
Now, talking about other professionals, who should property investors surround themselves as far as other professionals? What, a tax professional?
Well, they should talk to a tax professional about tax consequences. Like, are you going to depreciate your property to offset your income would be one thing.
Right.
And how that would affect possible capital gains tax or a recapture tax, which is taxed as income instead of capital gains. Or do you want to go ahead and pay the extra taxes on the rental income and not be subjected to that recapture tax later? It really just depends on the individual. So a knowledgeable accountant or tax attorney would be somebody to definitely have a conversation with.
Right.
About that.
And all insurance companies do not view rental property the same.
No, they don't, and that's so your insurance agent's going to be, have a conversation with them first about what it's going to look like to insure your rental property.
Yeah,
as well.
it may not be the best insurance company for your rental property as it is for all your other property casualty stuff, your personal home,
I would say
your cars.
I would shop it around a little bit. For my own properties, I've done the same. And it's not. You may not just want to use your same. The insurance company you insure everything else with, as you just mentioned, may not be the best choice for your investment property.
Right. Other professionals.
Other people you want to talk to? Well, if you're going to manage it yourself, you want to interview some property managers and see what they're all about. Some people have different ideas about what property managers do, and some property managers do things differently. So you want to ask them, what services you provide, how much you charge, because that's gonna take a bite out of their income. In exchange for not having to worry about the property, you're going to pay somebody else.
Well,
to worry about it for
exactly.
you.
And so let's talk about that a little bit. What can people like ballpark expect to pay? Because some people are like, oh, I don't want to give up 1 cent, and then other people really should not be managing their own property.
Well, that's true, and a good general figure for a single family home that's maybe $1,000 or $1,200 a month rental would be somewhere around 10% of the monthly income taken in. Besides that, they could expect to find a finder's fee for a cooperating agent that brought a tenant into the situation.
Okay, so that exists out there in the market as well.
So that can exist out there in the market as well. But if you're talking about 25% of a month's rent to pay an agent to bring you a tenant, you're
my goodness,
you're talking about paying 1 week. It's all about occupancy and tenant
exactly.
selection.
What if it's going to take you 2 months to fill that property, or you have an agent that's out here actively looking?
I can put my sign in a yard and not put it on MLS, and it'll just be me getting the calls. If we list it, I'll have to pay somebody a finder's fee, but there's 2,000 other agents who can see it now.
That's right.
So it'll get leased much more quickly.
And I sometimes think you get maybe a better quality of looker out there, because somebody out there is getting paid commission and they're making sure that's a qualified tenant, right?
Usually they do. There's some people who dabble and some people who do it a lot.
Yeah.
So really, it's for the investor, it's all about, if they're working with a property manager, it's all about tenant screening. And I found with my own properties that the owner tends to get their heartstrings pulled out a little bit with some of these situations. Whereas as a property manager, I have to be dispassionate and look for the best tenant, regardless of if I feel sorry for someone or something like that. It doesn't matter. I don't work for them. I work for the owner. That's right. And if you're a property owner managing your own property, you're much more likely to fall victim to maybe a soft side,
right?
Somebody's sob story or whatnot.
Yeah, and I will say, having managed some of my own properties, that it's, I was that person who was cheap, and I have occasionally not done the screening stuff because the individual person doesn't have easy access to the screening companies that the property manager works with all the time.
Right, something we do. Something we do multiple times a week. So we're used to doing that and seeing all kinds of applicants, and so yeah. I mean, if you screen one person a year, It's a lot different than screening several a
Absolutely,
week.
yeah.
A lot different.
Just the capacity of being able to do it and have access to the good people and being able to understand what those screenings really indicate.
That's it. If you're going to investment property, ask the right questions. Tenant screening is paramount. Property selection is important.
Right.
But you get the right tenant, and you've got to keep your place occupied. That's where you're going to make your money in investment property.
Right. Yeah, occupancy is key.
It is key. I mean, why get $50 a month more if you have to wait 3 months to get a tenant?
That's right.
That makes no sense whatsoever.
That's right. So
On that.
absolutely. Okay, so ideally you're looking for some customers. How can people find you?
People find me. You can find me just by calling me on my cell phone. Is the best way to find me. It's can I just pitch myself?
Yes.
Oh, just
absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
If you just have questions, I talk to people all the time with just questions who never end up being clients, so I don't have a problem with that at all. But my number is 479-531-9786, or you can just call the office at Weichert Griffin Company, and
Okay.
they'll find me. I'm never
Right.
far from my phone.
Absolutely. So, and this is Mark Flake with Weichert Realtors, and so you're the executive broker.
Well, you got to be a little careful with that. I'm the executive broker. There are several executive brokers at the office, and I'm not the main one at the office. I'm just one that can supervise other agents. So
Yeah.
I have to throw that in there. You can't say I'm. Yeah, the executive broker there is actually one of the owners of the company. So
I see.
I can't call myself that.
Well, as customers, I don't think we care.
Well,
so.
yeah, I got to be the real estate commission does, so I'll be careful.
Yeah. Well, and definitely, I think it's, I think we look for expertise. Long-term resident of Northwest Arkansas, so definitely part of our community, knows the community very, very well. So definitely a good option for people who are looking for investment property, but probably not a bad person to call also if you're a newcomer and looking to purchase a house or find something in the interim while you're finding your perfect community, because every city in Northwest Arkansas is a little bit different.
They are. All four of the big ones are, just they all have their own characteristics. It's kind of strange that they could be in such close proximity
and be
so
very
at the same
different.
time.
So I
Yeah.
think that's a huge value when you're looking at rental property versus buying right off the bat when you're a newcomer to a community.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because it gives you a chance to experience each community for that year that you've signed a lease, and you get a chance to check out Fayetteville or Bentonville or Rogers or Springdale or any of the small communities that surround all of those. And there's a number of really wonderful growing communities. Pea Ridge is really coming into its own, has their own school district.
Came out of nowhere, yeah.
Yeah, and Centerton is really growing, getting their feet underneath them. If you go to school or if you're a student in Centerton, you're going to Bentonville Public Schools. Even some residents in Rogers go to Bentonville Public Schools, just depending on how.
And some in Cave Springs go to Springdale, and some go to Rogers, and some go to Bentonville. I mean, it's good. That's a whole other conversation. School
Exactly.
Districts.
Yeah.
There's
so
lots of wonderful choices though.
Yeah.
They all have something to offer.
Exactly. Just so many wonderful places around here. So, well, Mark Flake, thank you so much for being on our show.
Well, thanks for having me.
And helping us really understand property ownership from an investor's perspective and also a tenant's. So, all right, we will be back with another guest right after this message.
Well, we're back, neighbors. Carrie, thank you so much. Just appreciate the insight that Mark gives just about real estate in general and the market, and just appreciate all that we glean insights from, especially to a moving market like Northwest Arkansas. But I've got a wonderful friend here today, David with Mojo. David, how are you, sir?
Not too bad. How are you doing?
Well, I'll tell you. Mojo Cycling, every time I turn around, I almost see you everywhere. I mean, the cars running up and down the road, you're delivering bikes and you're putting people out on the trails. And that's why people move here. It's the natural state and why they're out on these trails. Mm-hmm. And you're just outfitting folks from beginners to experienced folks, and it's wonderful. I'll tell you, David, hats off to you for what you're doing out there in the community.
Thanks. It's been a lot of work, and I wouldn't take credit for all of it. The Waltons have been fantastic. We've got a number of great bike shops here, great riders that are excited and growing in the sport. And now we're becoming nationally and internationally recognized in this area for the quality of mountain biking experience that we offer here.
Yes.
So there's a lot of opportunities, like you said, for people who, I have people that come in the shop all the time that are scared to go on the mountain bike trails because they think something crazy is going to happen. And
we may talk to that after a while.
Yeah, and you can get crazy if you want, but there are just basic trails that even a beginner can access also.
Yeah, Pete, hang on just a minute. If you'll go that way. Whoops, you walked right. That's all right. No worries. No, that's all right. If you'll just walk around that way, that'll be great. Thanks, Pete. Pete's one of the great residents here at Village on the Park, and we're enjoying every time he's out here. But experienced beginners, experienced. So let's talk a little bit about those beginners. When they come in, what are kind of some of the questions or maybe some of the things that you're putting out to them to think about? They want to go out, they want to get on the mountain bike trails, they want to do all these different things. Kind of walk us through some of that.
The first thing that most people do when they come into the shop is say, I'd like a mountain bike, I want to get into it, I want to learn the sport a little bit, but I don't want to spend $1 million. Everyone has this fear when they come into the shop that they're going to be put into a situation where they have to choose a bike that costs as much as a Ferrari. Now you can get a bike that costs as much as a Ferrari, but the thing is, you don't need that to experience a great time on the trail. We've got a couple of bikes here behind us, and we can talk about them, whenever you'd like. But these are two examples of maybe the extremes that we can offer.
Okay.
So this is the Trail X from Jamis.
Okay.
And we put a lot of people on Jamis bikes because right now they're offering some of the best entry-level bikes at really good prices with good components that can last when you're out there on the trail.
What are some of the features of this bike?
This one's got hydraulic disc brakes from a company called Tektro, which is one of the best in the industry.
Okay.
They've got Shimano shifting so that you have nice crisp shifts when you're out there on the trail. It's got a fork that you can lock out, so when you're on the trail you can have fun, and then if you want to go on the greenway with your family, you can lock it out. And then a bike like this starts at about $589.
Okay.
This is our entry level bike that we stock in the store.
Okay.
We can get you another bike from Jamis that starts at about $450.
All right.
And that's about as low as you go in performance bikes. But those are bikes that you can get that will last and help you get into the sport.
I was going to say, that's really what's behind it is lasting quality. When we're talking about, this is an investment in one sense because we're going to go out and we're going to get on a trail. We're first going to start kind of on the beginner end of that trail and then work our way up. And as we work our way up, then equipment over time changes.
Correct.
But you're exactly right. Now, here's what's interesting to me. I hear the word Shimano. Mm-hmm. So I do a little fishing from time to time. And so Shimano is where they got started with fishing equipment.
Same company.
Yes. And so great, I know the Shimano name and I know the quality that's put behind it. So in the end, I'm like, wow, I didn't realize that they were into biking as well. So this was an education to me, right?
They are a huge force in the biking industry.
Okay.
From brakes, and I can show you, this is my personal bike.
Okay.
From brakes to shifting components, your gear sets and all that. Mm-hmm. Just about everything you need to ride a bike as far as the components that are on that frame. Shimano's making products that fill those needs.
So I want to talk a little bit about on the Jamison model here for just a moment. I want to talk just a little bit about, so what kind of trail would I put the Jamison on?
A Jamison bike like this one right here, now there are different levels.
Sure.
But on an entry-level bike, you can get on some of the entry trails in the area. Some of the bikes that circle around Bella Vista, the back 40 trails.
Yep.
That outer loop, you can definitely do with the Jamison bike.
Okay.
With this Trail X.
Okay.
You can do large portions of the Slaughter Pen Trail.
Okay.
And there's going to be 50 more miles opened in Bella Vista within the next couple of weeks or month.
Oh, fantastic.
And it's called 11 Under.
Okay.
And I've ridden some of those sections and test rode them with some of the guys that are building the trails, like the road guys and some of the other people. And this bike would be perfect option to start on some of those trails. One of the great things about the trails that we have around here, unlike some of the other areas in the country, is that most of the trails that we have here always have an optional route around any of the features.
Okay.
And that means if you're riding along and you're a beginner and all of a sudden you come upon something that you're nervous about, there's a route around it.
So let's roll just a minute that Slaughter Pen clip that we have.
Okay.
Because since we're talking about Slaughter Pen, I think this is yet one of those trails that's been widely advertised, highly talked about.
Yep.
And I think it'd be great to give the folks a little bit of insight because you've been on that trail.
Absolutely.
In fact, I think you probably can ride that trail in your sleep.
It was there a long time before it really got famous. And back in the day before FAST came around, and FAST is the local group that maintains everything and has volunteers, it was just myself and a few other guys.
Well, my goodness.
So this is a great section of trail. I actually believe, let's see, I'm trying to think where this is. It's either at Kohler or, to me, this looks like it's probably at Kohler Preserve, not Slaughter Pen.
Okay, all right.
But
so
this is a group of our guys. We ride 3 times a week.
Okay.
And one of the guys that rides with us is named Charles Williams.
Okay.
And he and his brother Mark do some really great productions and ride. And the idea
this is fantastic. I feel like I'm on the bike with this.
Yeah, and it shows, like some of the guys I ride with.
Yes.
And it shows us riding. And it also shows people from out of the area what the trails are like so that they can come and they can say, all right, this trail is my ability or my riding style, and I want to ride this. So they come to the shop and they say, okay, how do I get to this trail? And they're ready to go.
So like skiing, I mean, like in skiing, they have kind of the bunny trail, they call them, as I recall in my memory about skiing. So then, if I'm doing 5 miles an hour on this trail, as an example, am I going to get run over, or is there a particular trail I need to be on so I'm out of the way of an experienced cyclist?
Yeah, that's a great question, but no, that's not a worry.
Okay.
There are always different levels of riders on the trails, and people going at different speeds. And there's usually real good trail etiquette about that. People will move off the trail for someone that's faster. If you're climbing the trail or whatever, people get out of the way so people coming down the hill don't have an accident.
Excellent.
Most trails are bi-directional, so you can go either direction in this area. But there are 1 or 2 trails that will actually have signs up that say this is a one-direction trail, which means people are coming down really fast, and you may not have the opportunity to get out of the way. But they're well posted, so there's very little chance that you get out there and get yourself in trouble.
David, talk to us a little bit, and then we're going to switch over to this experienced bike that's yours. I'm quite interested in this one as well.
Okay.
On the Jamison for a moment. So, someone is buying this bike, and they're kind of wondering, is there an opportunity for someone to get them trained in the right direction. In other words, it's like going into a gym. I want to have that personal trainer where I'm not lifting something that is, I'm not lifting the wrong way, or I'm not doing something the wrong way.
Yep.
Is that something you offer at Mojo to get those folks to the masses?
Yeah, actually we do.
Okay.
Like I just mentioned, we have rides 3 times a week.
Okay.
On Tuesday and Thursday nights, generally they're a little bit more what we call cross-country focused. We're
Okay.
out there and we're burning miles. Most of the time,
Calories.
Yep, and just riding and building up a sweat and having fun.
Right.
It's usually more about covering distance.
Okay.
On Saturday mornings, we get together and we do a little bit about that type of riding.
Sure.
But the focus is a little bit more on going places. They're a little more arduous, and pushing people and pushing ourselves like to do more difficult things.
Okay.
Now there's some people I've ridden with for 10 years that have never done some of that stuff.
Wow.
And there are other people who have been like riding for a month and they're like, I think I'm ready to do that. And we can coach them through those things in a really safe environment. We don't ever push anyone to do anything beyond their limits.
Sure.
And then in those instances, in some instances, we literally are standing next to the trail so that if something happens, they're not going, down into a gully somewhere.
Right.
Which that occasionally happens too. But generally speaking, it's all about if you're pushing your limits, you're trying something new, and there's the possibility of a crash situation. But that's part of the fun. Not that you want to crash, but part of riding a bike.
Helmet included.
Absolutely, but part of doing this is taking that chance. It's
Yes.
that being on the edge.
Right.
And for me, that even though this is my business, for me that's why I ride, because when I'm riding, I'm not thinking. I'm in the moment. My body is just reacting to what's there, and I am completely involved in the situation, and everything else falls away.
Yeah.
The business. The worries of life, everything, I am just in that moment. And if you're thinking, then it's not gonna end well. So for me, that's why I ride. It's that release.
There you go. There you go. Well, let's switch here a moment. I want to talk about this wonderful bike of yours here. And this is the experience level bike. And so walk us through this at an experience level, what a person would be getting into.
Yeah.
And
so this bike is from Orbea.
Sure.
They're handmade in Spain.
Okay.
But believe it or not, their corporate headquarters is here in Arkansas. It's actually in Little Rock. So we have a very close relationship with these guys. This is Orbea's bike called the Rayon.
Okay.
And this is what's called an enduro bike. So it's made for climbing hills and exploring, and also going down hills really fast and doing big jumps and big drops. It's made specifically for that.
Now, I think you have a war wound that you've experienced with this. And, really it goes to tell that you're not sugarcoating something.
Yeah.
You're really talking about, look, this is what the trails are about.
Yeah.
At the end, when you're at this level.
Yeah,
Not necessarily. You can. There are things that can happen. Like
Absolutely.
You said, you're not tuned in.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden.
But once again, it just depends on the level of commitment that you have. I've ridden with guys for 10 years and they've never had an insane crash or gone off anything by accident or anything. For me, that's kind of what I like to do. And when I'm pushing the limits, I work up to something and then I try it, and either you make it. I joke that either you make it or you land in the hospital. So, and I did. I spent a couple hours in the hospital on Sunday for my hand from a wreck that I had. But that's with the way I ride. That's what I choose to do. That's my way of having fun. And this bike is built for that. So you can see there's a difference. First of all, this is what's called a hardtail. So there's no suspension in the rear. This one has suspension in the rear, which makes that rear tire move. So it allows you to go faster and keep your wheels on the ground and be in control. This frame is carbon fiber. That one's aluminum. One of the really cool things about Orbea is when I got this bike from them, I did what was called a Mayo, which means it's my Orbea. And I went and we designed the paint scheme. I chose the components that were on it. And in the factory, they have the frame, and it's got my name on it. And the people from the factory come and do every single thing specific to me. And then it comes to the shop, and it doesn't cost a nickel more. Custom. So I chose the paint. I wanted something really different. My friends always make fun of me that all my bikes are red or green. So I decided to do pearl. Well, it's dirty right now, but believe it, you know, you just have to imagine, but it's pearl white and purple.
But I'm glad you brought it this way, because this shows what you get when you come to the trail. This is real. This is not something that's just polished and ready to go.
And just to be clear, I mean, this is my business. Yes. So this is a sign for me. I rode for years, and I did not need a bike at this level. All right. So it's got, you know, carbon fiber frame, carbon fiber handlebars, carbon fiber crank, and my wheels are carbon fiber with aluminum spokes to keep the weight down and strength. This bike literally has the best of everything. But once again, I rode for years. I had a business in Utah doing guided mountain bike tours, and I never rode a bike at this level because, you know, I didn't necessarily need this much.
No, but you've worked your way up.
Yes.
Experience.
And if someone wants something like this, they can do it. I joke, I'm old now, and I have war. So I feel like I've got this bike, and I feel like grandma going to the grocery store on Sunday in a Ferrari. Here's the Ferrari, but that's right. Yep. But it's not getting, you know, it's not being driven at its full potential. But that's the kind of thing you can get if you want to. But once again, you don't have to be afraid when you walk into the shop. There are options that will do what you want at very nearly everyone's level.
This is very affordable.
Yes. Very affordable. And we give lifetime tune-ups and a custom fit for everyone. So when you get a bike, it's just like getting a suit tailored to you. It may be your size, but if you've got a buddy that's the same height and his legs are 2 inches longer than yours, then that's going to change the seat height, how close the seat is to the handlebars, all those things. And to customize that bike and fit it to you so that you're comfortable and you have a nice ride, those things need to be taken into effect. And for me, if I'm selling a bike, I'm not letting you go out of the store without it set up for you. Otherwise, we're failing you.
Exactly. And that's the difference when, with all due respect, you buy something from Amazon versus something from someone who has the experience and the knowledge and knows to custom fit you. So that it is not an experience where you put the bike in the garage and never touch it again.
Correct.
Or sell it.
Correct.
And you walk away going, what could my experience have been like?
Well, and that's where we're also the source afterwards. You know, you have a new bike. How do I use it? What can I do with it? Yeah. Those are questions. So buying the bike is not the end of the relationship for us.
No.
Buying the bike for us is the beginning, and now you're part of that Mojo family, and we're going to help you succeed and grow, and anything you need, we're there to answer that.
A couple things I want to take away to these last two videos, and then I want to wrap up with, talk to us about how that person needs to be outfitted, and then secondly, how they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely.
So let's look at these last two videos here. This was the rock riding, I think that's the time. Blowing Springs, yeah.
Yes, this is us riding some of the trails in Blowing Springs. And here you can see this, the video footage just does that drop.
That's not the
right now that Keith is going off of right there, and that's me.
There you go.
Okay.
It's
5 feet.
5 feet.
Yeah. So there's a lot of exposure there, and you can see he just made it.
Oh!
So what we do is when people really
I'm glad
want to
that's
push,
a little
the whole
tree.
thrill is like dangerous. You're working, and we're there to coach them through before we even try that. That's me going through.
Oh.
Before we even try it, we literally walk the trail and every footstep show them where to go.
Nice.
And then when they go and do it, we're right next
Big
to
pedals.
the trail to help them. And here's another section which is actually not that big of a drop, but it technically is very challenging. And that's Keith one of the guys in our crew that just did that. And you can see all the other guys here watching him, and then they're getting ready to give it a shot. And here's Charles with his first try. You saw he didn't quite make that corner. And you can see they're not making that corner because gravity wants to pull them down that hill.
Okay.
So it's just that process of learning and growing and becoming a better rider.
Fantastic. Yeah, let's look at it. Do we have one more clip, Jeremy? Let's look at that one a minute, and then we'll come back. This one is, check on this one. Sims. Sim Barrow.
Okay, so Sim Barrow is a local
story.
naturalist. He actually works with the Fayetteville school system.
Okay.
And he is just a phenomenal teacher. He's also a biker that will just bike you into the ground. He's a machine. So the city of Bella Vista and the mayor of Bella Vista have organized these nature rides with Sim. And as a shop, for me, like, this is what we do. We want to get people out. So I've totally supported Sim in these things. And so he'll take a group out and we'll start and we'll do this ride. And then he'll stop at different locations along the ride and say, hey, look at this. This is this plant. It's local to this area. Or, hey, look at that bird. You know, that bird is you know, such and such, and you know, its migratory patterns are this. And then we're off to the next location. So Sim is really good. Yeah, he's great at keeping your excitement and showing you new stuff.
I mean, this is a bird lover's dream at this point.
Yep,
you know?
and here he is. He's getting ready to show us a cave. I've ridden this trail for 3 years. See, there I am right there. I've ridden this trail for 3 years and didn't know that there was a cave that you could crawl to. I've been riding past it. So we went in there, and there's a colony of bats on the top. And he was showing us the bats, and then he showed us these monster spiders.
Their defense is to look poisonous.
Look at the size of
what they'll do is
I'm
they'll
really
curl up
arachnophobic, and I was
and show
out of
off
that,
their,
that cave in like
I'd have been ahead of you.
Yeah,
I'd have been ahead of you. You might have run faster, but I'd have still been out ahead of you.
But they're totally
Yeah, so you didn't see on the camera. He went to show me that
They like to
spider
live under
real close,
rocks
and I'm
and
like,
as
don't
well,
even
kind
get
of
that
spicy
thing here.
outfit.
That is funny.
So
that is hilarious.
His rides have been super popular, so I can't imagine that the city of Bella Vista wouldn't do another one. No. And you know, I think they would. And if not, the Mojo Cycling will do one with him because he's a great friend to the shop, and his rides are they're so informative and so fun. Everyone always has a blast.
David, I know there's also when it comes to custom fitting a bike like a suit, it also gets down to the proper equipment. So what are we putting these folks on when we're at the beginner level and then when we get to the experience level?
So for me, and lots of shops have different perspectives on this.
Full body armor excluded from
So for me, it's you know, you don't need to just have 2 tons of gear for your first experience.
Right.
But there are a couple of things that you must have.
Okay.
One is a helmet.
Definitely.
Like I could.
Cracked skulls are never.
And I go to the school districts here and I teach bike safety and helmet safety, and I can tell you stories about helmet. Like you need to wear a helmet.
Exactly.
And then besides a helmet, a pair of gloves.
Okay.
Gloves help you, like when you're grabbing. If you ride a lot, you can see I've got calluses on my hands, even
Very
through my
nicely
gloves.
done.
And if you crash, you don't ever plan on crashing, but if you crash, that will protect your hands in the event of a crash.
Sure.
So those are the things you need to basically start out. If you want to expand from there, that's where you kind of learn from the people you ride with. If you start getting a little more aggressive on your mountain biking, we really, really advise wearing elbow and knee pads also.
Okay.
If you start getting crazy, you saw from the videos, we all wear what's called a full face helmet.
Okay.
That in the event of a crash, it protects your face. That saved me this weekend when I had my wreck. If I hadn't been wearing one, I like you can see, I've even got some stuff, and that was when I was rolling. So, so those are the basics.
Sure.
And then from there, you know, you always want to have water with you. Hydration is a big deal, especially here in the summer when it gets hot and extremely humid. You can get yourself in trouble without even thinking about it.
Well, and some people don't realize those trails, you know, interior, if you will, can kind of close you in terms of the heat and the humidity.
Yes.
And then you feel like you're
in a sauna.
In a sauna, and you're trying to breathe and get air.
So we've got very nice hip packs that carry water.
Okay.
You can do what's called the traditional Hydro Pack, which is here.
Okay.
And now the trend is to go super light, and so I have a lot of guys that I ride with that are just running 1 or 2 water bottles.
Okay.
You need to know how your body hydrates and how it works, and then carry the appropriate amount of water, and make sure you always pre-hydrate before a ride. That means getting water into your system before you're on the trail, because your body can sweat it out faster than it can process it.
Okay.
So you need to have some in your system. You need to drink while you're riding, and then following the ride, you need to drink for about a half an hour to an hour, because your body is still processing that water that you sweat out, and you can actually get dangerously dehydrated 45 minutes after your ride while you're sitting in your living room.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. See, these are the things that people need to know about. And I think real quickly, how do folks so this bike, we didn't really talk about cost to this bike, but if you're at that level, ballpark range, what are we talking about?
If you have to ask, then...
Yeah, I understand.
But we've got...
That's like a steak in a nice restaurant.
We've got some really nice elite level bikes that start with carbon fiber frames at 3,500, 4,000.
Sure.
I mean, I've got guys that are racing on carbon bikes that are in excess of $11,000.
Yeah.
Once again,
That's a passion.
It's a passion, and it's how much time you spend on that trail. If you're on that trail 3 or 4 hours a day, then you want a bike that's built to take that kind of beating.
It's like a good set of golf clubs.
Exactly, or a nice set of fishing rods.
Exactly.
Like you're going back to the Shimano thing. So what we try to do when people come into the shop is teach them that they don't need, what you want to do is think of how many hours you're spending on the trail and buy the appropriate bike. That way you're not spending more than you need to, or you're not underspending. Some people come in and try and then you have all kinds of troubles on the backside.
Yeah, they try to skimp. Then
Yeah.
that gets them, like you said, getting out on the trail, all of a sudden it's, I should have thought about
Oh
this.
boy, I really wish I'd done this.
Exactly. So, any events that you have coming up?
You know, this weekend we actually have one in Eureka Springs.
Oh, great.
The Jagged Axe Trail Crew, a bunch of really cool people. They're running a thing called Dirt Church.
Okay.
And it's going to be a 2-day event. There's going to be all kinds of family stuff. We're the key sponsor up there.
Excellent.
And they're going to have races. They're going to have children's events, all different kinds of things. This is the first year. It's the inaugural year. So a lot of times that's the building year.
That
But
is.
it's on some really exciting new trails they're literally, in some cases, still building. And so that's going to be a really fun opportunity.
Okay.
And then the enduro race scene here locally, if you go to the Arkansas Enduro Series website, they've got some fantastic stuff. There's one coming up at the end of May that's going to be a national, if not international qualifier. And in some sections, they're actually racing down the streets of Eureka Springs and doing some crazy stuff. So if you're wanting to see some exciting stuff, go to Eureka Springs, grab a meal, and you can literally stand in the street and watch these guys come off these staircases and doing huge jumps.
Jeremy, are you coming with me on this? I know we're not participating because we'd be at the hospital pretty quickly, but but it would be neat to see, I think. That would be neat to see. We'll have to talk to David here about seeing how we might get a front row seat to that.
And
but,
as the sport grows, there are different kinds of events literally every weekend. And they're not just for those extreme guys that are riding stuff like this.
They're right here.
They're entry-level stuff. Those rides with Simbero that we were talking about, you could go out on this Jamis Trail X and you could do that ride and you would be fine.
There you go.
You could be part of that group.
How do people, David, reach out to you at Mojo Cycling? I mean, I know we see your car running them down the road all the time, but how do they connect with you?
If you'd like, we're on Walton Boulevard, and we're right across from the Dollar General there. Yes. We also have a great website that was built by one of my mechanics, And yeah, he knew the store and what we stood for and wanted something that would reflect that.
There you go.
And that's mojocycling.com, very
Okay.
easy. We have a very active Facebook page, and we have an Instagram page that, because I'm an old guy, I don't do as well.
I don't do that one.
My younger son does some of that when he has time, and that's something we're going to ramp up.
Well, there you go.
But come out, reach out to us, and like I said, our goal is to get you on the right bike. Whether that bike be $450 or $4,500. To me, I honestly don't care as long as you're on the bike that works for you. Because if we give you great service and you're happy and you're out there having a good experience, then you're going to tell your friends and they're going to come to us. And that's how I grow my business.
There you go.
Not by trying to soak people into the most expensive thing.
Yeah, excellent. David, thank you very much. Appreciate you, my friend.
Yeah, have a great one. Thanks for having me. This has been fantastic.
Well, we enjoyed having you out. The cycling in and of itself across Northwest Arkansas has become the premier sport. And who better with the experience you have? And there are other great biking groups out there as well.
There are a lot.
And I've had the trails folks on back last year who have designed the trails, and those guys are, like, bar none, the most knowledgeable guys, but they're connecting with guys like you as well. People like you who are in the business, experience, and go, this is what we're looking for in trails, and this is how they're designing and doing this stuff. And so this area is becoming, again, the cycling capital of the world.
And it's continuing to grow. Siloam Springs is now creating trails.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, all the trails in Bella Vista. Fayetteville has a huge number of trails now, and Mount Kessler that are expanding. So, like, literally every time you go out, there's a new place to go. And we just have to fight not to take that for granted, because there is nowhere that offers this kind of diversity of trails.
Well, I appreciate you, and I appreciate the expanded time we had with you on the show. It was educating, it was exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing folks come by the shop and talk to you about how they get started in something that is family fun, family friendly. It just doesn't have to, it can be done both individually as well as family. Sometimes there's even moms that are like, Dad, husband, I don't want you going, I'm doing this myself. So it's an individual as well as a group event, and that's what's enjoyable all the way around.
Yep.
David, thank you so much again for your time, my friend. Up next is Carrie Perrin-Smith with our good friend Heather Slinkard from Juice Plus, and we're excited to have her on the program because I'll tell you, everything from Ian today to my good friend David standing next to me, right on through to Heather, it's all one big entity of grouping it together and having a healthy lifestyle. We'll be right back.
The beautiful fireplace in the atrium here. That's what I'll call it, the atrium.
Yes, the atrium.
Here at Village on the Park. So it's a beautiful day. Spring has finally arrived.
Yay!
Yay! We had no snow this year, but it seems so cold all winter long.
Yes.
Well, we are back with Heather Slinkard. Her company is Juice Plus. But she is going to talk about nutrition today. We've been having some off-screen conversation about this topic. Nutrition is something I'm so passionate about, and
Me
it's
too.
been such a journey in really trying to decipher what's out there in the marketing space and what's, really just basics. And I think it comes back to, going back to the basics, going back to the way our grandparents ate.
Yes.
And because that marketing has changed how we know about food, is that right?
Marketing has a huge thing to do with how we eat. Even the colors that they put into the marketing are colors that attract us.
Yes.
The great thing about Whole Foods is we already have the coloring and it's not unnatural.
That's
so
right.
an apple is red and an orange is orange, and we still have beautiful colors.
It's nice to see this farm to market kind of concept come around,
Yes.
and even to see big retailers like Walmart saying, how can we harvest our food closer to our
Yes.
buyer? Because the longer it's off the vine or the plant,
Right.
the more nutrition that it loses.
Exactly.
And we've learned things such as, frozen and canned sometimes is more nutritious than what we're buying fresh.
Yes.
Because it was frozen and canned close to the grower.
Yes,
So-
exactly.
So
exactly.
how did you become passionate about this?
So how I became passionate was most of my life I was actually very unhealthy. I was sick a lot of the time, and I have a gut issue that prevents me from eating a lot of roughage, and so the solution to that was just don't eat it. Of course, that's not the solution.
No, that's like, because where roughage comes from, that's fiber, and that's
Yes.
fruits and vegetables, right?
Exactly. And so I gained a tremendous amount of weight and was unhealthy and unhappy. And I had a friend introduce me to a product I'll talk about later called Juice Plus. And when she told me about it, I said, and the first word is juice. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I will pass. But she encouraged me to look into the research, and so I did, and I found that what Juice Plus was doing was dehydrating fruits and vegetables and berries and grains and putting it into capsules, and all that powder goes straight into your bloodstream. It doesn't go to your gut. And so 5 years ago, started changing my diet and became healthier, and I love to help people, so it just seemed to become a natural fit.
Yeah. Wow, but such a journey to
Yes.
moving toward, hey, I can eat whole foods.
Yes, exactly.
Well, and there is a place where your body cannot handle certain foods
Right.
once it gets to a place of certain health. But there,
Right.
in a lot of cases, you can make that journey back.
Yes.
But it requires healing, and we're really, as a culture, starting to talk about gut health, and that is so important. And it can get out of whack, and it takes time to get it back in. And sometimes you don't realize that it's getting out of whack until it feels like you're at a place of no return, and it is that 3-month journey back to really full living health.
There is a doctor that I listen to a lot. Her name's Dr. Mitra Ray, and she starts her talks by saying that we have two brains. We have a brain up here, but we also have a brain in our gut, because what's going on in our gut is largely going to dictate what's going on with our health.
Exactly.
You don't really think about that. So we have to use both brains.
We do, and sometimes,
Yes.
well, and the reality is there are chemicals in our food out there, and that's put into our foods and production to maybe make it sweeter or more savory, or to emulsify and things like that. And so it has a very real, it had a whole wholesome intent in being in our processed food to start with.
Yes.
But we're starting to realize maybe it wasn't okay. Carrageenan
Right.
and MSG and
Right.
well, some of this stuff has been reformulated. MSG that we have today is not the same MSG
it's
we had in
not.
the 60s.
Exactly.
It is differently. Our grain today is not the same grain that we had back in our grandparents' day.
Exactly.
Now, we've seen changes in the plate and the food pyramid, and I think those changes have been positive, don't you?
Yes, I think they've been very positive because when you look at a pyramid, you sort of don't know what to choose. And some people thought, well, I need to eat everything off that pyramid,
Yeah.
which no. So eating is very simple. So if you picture your plate, and you're eating when you're hungry, when your body needs it, and a serving is your fist. That's your serving.
Now, that's a
some-
serving of meat.
That
is
is-
that a serving of meat or is it a serving of, because they were different?
Yes, that's a serving of vegetables.
Okay, a serving of vegetables is
Yes.
this.
So we should have 9 to 13 servings a day of fruits and vegetables. That's
Now,
a
I
lot
guess
of
that's probably
servings.
not spinach, right? That's probably not a serving of spinach, like raw spinach, because like,
Yeah.
so this is a cooked vegetable,
Yes.
would you say? Okay, this is a cooked vegetable.
So a serving. So if you have a serving of vegetables
Okay.
on your plate, a serving of fruit on your
Okay.
plate,
Which is a similar size.
yes, one multi-grain item, which can be multi-grain roll, and then you have one protein. That can be a chicken breast, or
Right.
like we had last night, that can be salmon, whatever protein.
And a serving of protein is like the size of your palm, I
Yes,
believe. Is
it
that
is.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's all you need on your plate. It doesn't have to be, like we talked about before, a Thanksgiving dinner at every meal.
No.
No, it can be very simple. The other part of your plate that's very important is what you're drinking. Wine is fun, but it's better to drink water. The more water you drink, the better your body is off. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about infusing water.
Wow.
Which you think.
I have not done infusing because I like water, but there's a lot of people that don't.
A lot of people don't. And so infusing water is fun. So, and it's not expensive at all. So if you have a 2-gallon jug, you fill it up with water, and then you can put different combinations of berries, things that you like. So I'm going to use my cheat sheet. So if you like cucumber, lime, strawberry, and mint, you can put that into that gallon of water, put it in your refrigerator overnight, and it will naturally infuse that water.
Wow.
It's super easy.
That is easy, and it's so pretty.
Yes.
You know, I just go to the store, you know, go to Home Goods or someplace that sells these beautiful jars, and you put, you know, you pour water over these fruits and vegetables and put them in them. I mean, it looks, the jars are beautiful there, but I can't even imagine opening my refrigerator and seeing like infused fruit inside these jars. That would be so beautiful.
Exactly, and it's not expensive, it's easy to do, and a lot of 5-star restaurants serve infused water.
I have seen that.
And so people think, oh, that's super hard. No, it's super easy. It's just like eating a plate. It's super easy. So eating healthy doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah.
When I talk about water, a lot of thing that people don't know is our body is 70% water.
Wow.
So one thing people don't know, if you start to get a headache, the first thing I encourage people to look at
Drink
is
water.
how much water have you drank that day?
That's right, and that is a when I'm in a band, and so when I play outdoors as much as you know when we get a chance in the summer when we play restaurants, outdoors, patios, and that's the first thing I notice if I have not been drinking enough water is I'll get a little headache. I don't normally have headaches,
right?
and so it is. It's you sort of get that kind of top of your head kind of headache.
Yes. Or if your muscles start cramping.
Yeah.
That's usually
And that's usually it.
hydration issue.
Then it's like the overnight leg cramps.
Yes.
It's like, oh good, I want to have to drink all that water before I go to bed.
Right.
Oh, if I don't, I'm going to be overnight.
Yes. And so water is, and when you think about, not to gross anyone out, but if you think about the blood that's in your system, 83% of that blood is water.
Wow.
So to keep your body healthy.
And brain health is
Yes.
to keep our brain well hydrated, that affects, how we function emotionally and how well we think.
Yes.
So, it's even the key to brain health.
Right. Exactly.
And heart health. Heart health, that's where the importance of drinking water before you go to bed.
Absolutely.
Having that glass of water beside your bed overnight, if you get up or wake up, get a drink of water, and
absolutely
that affects your heart health.
Yes. So I want to talk about some easy ways to eat healthy. One meal that gets people every time is lunch. Because we're at home and eating breakfast can be pretty easy inside your house. But then you're in the office or you're out doing whatever you do and you start to get hungry. And so the natural response is, going to turn that wheel, or I'm going to go get something that's unhealthy.
Yeah. Stop at the convenience store and get a soda and a bag of chips. Or
Yes. So one thing that I teach people is about a salad in a jar. So you remember our grandmothers canned in mason jars. Well, we can still use them today. So a salad in a jar is so easy, and you can put whatever you want in your salad in a jar. So you pick your favorite salad dressing. If you like salad dressing, put that in the bottom of the jar. And then you put harder vegetables, so like carrots and things like that. Then you load it with softer vegetables. Then you pack your greens in the top, and then you seal it. And that salad will last in the refrigerator for a week.
Wow. And so you do all of them on Sunday for the week.
So you do them all on Sunday, and you can make them Mexican, you can make them Italian, you can do a Cobb salad.
Right.
You can do whatever you want. And then when you're ready to eat it, dump it into a bowl, mix it up, and you have lunch.
And that is the beautiful thing. I tell you, if there's one tip I can give people because people are like, oh, I need all this dressing. Well, no, you don't. And I was that person, that convert that ordered my dressing on the side and then would dip my lettuce, a little tip of it, and that's all I needed. Well, that's great, but at the same time, if you eat, like I make some really hearty dressings.
Yes.
And I want the good fats, and I want all that flavor.
Right.
But I don't need like a little cup of it. I don't. And so, but when you pour that dressing and give it a little toss so that it touches everything in the bowl, it's amazing how little dressing it really takes to do that and really get that impact. So you still get it on every piece of it, but you didn't have to put a huge container of it on your salad.
Exactly.
So you get the flavor and the value of the healthy stuff you put in your dressings.
Yes. And you can even, like with my company, we do salad in a jar parties.
Oh, how fun.
You can do those on your street, because everybody's eating lunch. And so everybody brings something to the party. Everybody brings their own mason jars, and you go around the table and you pack what you want. And it's fun, it's nutritious, and it's going to save you money.
That's right.
So,
well,
you can
and the same concept can go with smoothies.
Yes.
Make your smoothies in advance and put all that good stuff in, that little piece of beet, and all that spinach in there, and then put all the yummy stuff in it in little bags. And then when you're ready to do your spinach, just add some plant-based milk and, give it a little whip up in the blender. So, well, tell me about Juice Plus and some
Okay. So Juice Plus is a 50-year-old company, and our mission statement is to inspire healthy living around the world. So that's what we do. We inspire people. One project that I'm actively involved in involves something to your right that's called a tower garden. And a tower garden is an aeroponic tower garden. It does not have any soil, so therefore it does not have any weeds.
Wow.
And it grows inside year-round. You can grow 30 plus plants on it, and you get full, beautiful heads of lettuce and kale. Anything that you want to eat, you can grow on your tower garden. And they're not expensive. What we did, we looked at our budget, our food budget, and decided, you know, $50 a month towards the tower garden, and in a year we own it, and takes about 10 minutes a week to make sure the water level is good, the pH balance is good, and then it just grows on its own. It has lights on it. Everything is run off a timer.
Yeah. So where do you have yours in your house?
So ours is, I have an in-home office, and so ours is in my office right off the kitchen.
Oh my goodness, in your office.
Yes.
You know, okay, so I read a statistic that said for your house to really enjoy the benefits of good indoor air quality provided by plants, you need one plant for every 100 square feet of house. And so there you go. Your office is like amazing, right?
Yes, it is. And it grows very fast. We do seedling to full-grown plant of lettuce in about 4 weeks.
Is that right?
Yes. And it has all the nutrition in it. So that's one part of Juice Plus. The other part about Juice Plus is we take fully grown fruits, vegetables, berries, grains that have all the nutrition in them. We dehydrate that at a very low temperature, so we keep all the nutrients in it, and it becomes a powder. Those powders go into capsules or into chewables for kids.
Ah, very good.
And you can eat 6 capsules in a day and get 30 fruits, vegetables, berries, and grains.
Well.
So it is great for people that want to be proactive about their health.
Yeah, so people want a shortcut there, but
yes.
Well, and it's not easy to be healthy. Sometimes it's like, okay, my life is crazy, but if I could adopt one little thing that is going to supplement what I'm trying to do.
Yes, exactly.
Because it is a big commitment to,
it is.
You know, to really, and sometimes it doesn't look easy, and so you have to find things that do fit in your lifestyle.
You do, and it just helps bridge the gap. We were talking about serving size, and not many people are getting 9 to 13 servings a day. And so this bridges the gap, and it gives your body what it needs.
Yeah.
The other cool thing that we do is every adult that eats Juice Plus can sponsor a child that's at least 4 years old through undergraduate college to get their Juice Plus for free for 4 years.
Wow, what a huge difference.
Because we want to impact the children now, because they will grow up and they are the future of our country. We want them to be healthy.
We want them to be healthy, so absolutely.
The other 3 things we have amazing plant-based shakes. So you enjoy drinking them instead of chalk or whatever. And we have plant-based bars that are really, really good.
Very cool.
And then plant-based omegas is the newest thing. So the omegas come from plants that the fish eat. So
very interesting.
We're sparing the fish.
Yeah.
We go straight to the plant
plankton
source.
And the algae and interesting.
And we cold fuse that into a capsule that's vegan friendly. Everything is. And so you get omega 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9.
Is that right?
In our
well, and there's such a need for all of those.
Yes.
Well, cool. Well, how can we find out how to reach you and how to learn more about the
yes.
Tower Garden and then and other Juice Plus products.
Yes. So I'm glad to give you my contact information. It's Heather Slinkard. My phone number is 479-616-0621. You can also find me on Facebook, and I also will post a sheet on my Facebook and give to you all some resources, because we've talked about a lot today.
Okay, yeah.
And
maybe we can share that to our
we inspire
comments.
healthy living, and so we have a lot of resources to help people make the best decision for their health.
Right. Very good. Y'all, it's easier than you think.
Yes,
and you're
it is.
important. Your life matters. The people that love you matter.
Yes.
Really think about that and how you can make a little bit of difference here or there over a long period of time. So, well, Heather Slinkard, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, Carrie. It has been fun, and thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We are back. What a show today, I'll tell you.
And I will always tell you, this is the best part of the show right here.
Oh my goodness.
If you guys have never watched to the end, you're gonna never want to miss another good show.
You know, I was thinking the other day after we got done, I was thinking about bloopers. We need to get Jeremy to do some blooper tapes in there. Especially for just a minute ago when you said you were paid handsomely, I about fell out of my chair. What a deal. Well,
I do this for fun.
Yeah, and to put up with me, that's real fun.
Yeah, remember when we used to do government affairs stuff?
Exactly.
I said, yeah, I'll do that stuff. But there's like so many other topics I just really enjoy talking about. I got to talk about nutrition today. And you were talking about some stuff today. Give me like I missed it. I love
really
Ian.
a 50,000-foot view. My goodness. We, of course, started out with Ian and his beautiful wife, Laura, from Nuclear. You know, I always want to say nuclear, and it's Nuclear Health and Fitness. And so, you know, Ian has got this wonderful machine that he, you know, works with people who have all sorts of different levels of pain and tolerance, and
Yeah,
you know,
and he's a success story, and he's a real nerd about that kind of
he is.
stuff. I mean, you have to be to really go outside what is considered mainstream medicine, where we look at you for 7 minutes in a doctor's office and prescribe you a medicine.
Well, and I'll tell you, you know, Ian, the biggest piece that really got me with Ian was the day I tuned in on his Facebook page, and he got this medical doctor who writes prescriptions all the time. This guy is nowhere mobile at all.
Yeah.
And he goes with great, you know, the wall is up. The whole issue is, I'm not having this. You know, guess what? It's not going to work. It's going to be the pills. And all of a sudden, in about 3 sessions, he's like, you know what? I'm going to start referring clients to you.
Yeah.
You know, that is the testimony of what Ian is doing.
Right. There is a place for prescriptions, so don't get me wrong.
No, there is.
But there are a lot of things that we try prescriptions on that there are alternative modalities that make sense.
You know, it's just like with Horines at Ignite Chiropractic as an example. We go to them. We've seen great things. We've heard Jeremy's testimony for his migraines that he was having, and just, you know, again, this is where we should be, and it also gets to how we're eating. I mean, here it was, and I'm going to skip ahead a little bit on our outline to Juice Plus. Heather here talking about, you know, these wonderful gardens that she's been putting together and doing it for, you know, just different entities across Northwest Arkansas. It's unbelievable. But this is where our society needs to be going. I kid all the time, Carrie, about stopping at the donut shop, and I have a sweet tooth. But those donuts, I know, when I eat them over time, kill me.
Well, I mean, I can tell you I am gluten intolerant, and
Right.
so yes, they do kill me. It's a slow death, and it's so sad when you've already fallen off the wagon. You go, "What's one more?
What's one exactly?
What's one more?"
What's one
you
more?
know, and then pretty soon you realize that you're in a lot of pain, and it's accumulative.
Well, and I watch my wife Arlene, love her to death. Watch her, you know, when it gets to when she goes back to picking up a Coke and drinking it, then all of a sudden later that day it's like her knees and her joints. And
I know.
you know, it's like it is not very long. It doesn't take days. It's just almost instantaneous.
It's insane how a cola will change the pH and that sugar. I don't know whether it's the chemicals in the cola or it's the sugar, but I know when I am drinking cola, my knees hurt so much. I mean, I will have times where I do not have knee pain at all, and it's like you go, wow, it's noticeable. You know, I'm going upstairs and I'm not in terrible pain. And it's like, I gave up sugar a couple of weeks ago, and that's what it takes, about a week or two.
It does.
And it does make a difference.
And I get in the grocery store and I see kids chugging the Red Bull and the Cokes and the Mountain Dews, and then the parents are on Diet Cola, and I'm like, really?
I know.
Oh, the diet helps us out so much. No, the diet doesn't help you anymore. You might as well just stick with the regular at that point. I'm sorry. Yes, the Koch brothers will probably send me a nasty gram.
The Coke, that's a different Coke.
I know, but you know, I'm just being facetious.
Yeah, so different Coke.
But again, you know, I'll probably get the memo. Excuse me, but you know, we have certified studies that show how much Coca-Cola helps us, and you know.
Well,
anyway.
I will tell you that moderation is always key. And
It is.
it comes back to going back to Whole Foods, you know. It's not hard to do Whole Foods, but I mean, like you and I grew up in a generation where everything was recipes with 85 ingredients. And if it didn't include cheese.
Butter.
Butter's okay.
Oh. But
I grew up on margarine.
Oh,
And now I go, gosh, I hope I don't end up with a stroke. I mean,
no, honey, butter's where it's at. And
yeah, actually, butter's okay.
And you know, but I grew up on
Not like a cup a day.
I grew up on Paula Deen. It was butter, butter, and more butter, and everything that went in was lard and butter. And
so you were fortunate enough to grow up on lard and butter and not margarine?
And not margarine. No,
You know,
my
maybe-
grandmother did not bring that stuff.
Maybe you have got a chance.
Maybe, I
because
don't
that's
know,
what
but
the
it's-
studies are saying now. I mean, I've gone back to lard.
Yeah.
And I don't use, but that's again, I'm not using an
But
excessive
I was
amount
going to
of
say,
it.
there's a difference there. That's what ended me in the hospital with triple bypass surgery was the wonderful excessive butter.
Or maybe it was sugar.
Could have been too.
Sugar, I mean,
know?
that's what the studies are saying now. Sugar might be even more important to heart disease
Yeah.
than any of those fats ever were, except for maybe
Yeah.
margarine. And the studies are pretty compelling on margarine.
It is. And, at the end of the day, though, it gets down to exercise. And like Ian was showing us, look what his machine can do, even for him. I have seen great mobility, and here he was doing this back and forth and extending one leg in front of the other, foot in front of the other like this, and holding those positions. And I'm like, wow, I was just looking at him going, excuse me, I need somebody to call an ambulance because that's where I'm going to end up on the floor.
See, I'm sorry. I was interviewing Mark Flake, and I didn't get a chance to see that.
Go back
I would have loved. I'll have to go back.
Go back and look
and look at that.
And
yeah.
then here it was, our next guest on the show with regards to Mark that you interviewed, and we had, of course, Mike. And I'll come back to Mark in a minute, but we had Mike Gross here, executive director. Finally was able to twist his arm to get him on here with Village on the Park, and got to really talk to him about Alzheimer's and the memory care unit they've got here and the houses and just the inclusive care that they have here at Village on the Park. And great folks. And of course, from time to time when we can pull Corey out of the kitchen, he's great to have on and talk about the food that they prepare here as well. But their community event coming up, the Excellent event that they're having on April the 20th. The whole community, I mean, they're talking.
Is that their Easter?
That's
thing?
their Easter event, April 20th.
That's
come
gonna
out.
be neat.
It will. They're going to have the bouncy house. As long as they can keep Jared out of the bouncy house, we'll be good.
Is it a grown-up bouncy house?
It's a big one. So you have all sorts of people.
They have those for grown-ups.
They do, yes. And I'm a little afraid though with Jared that about the he's going to be handling putting the Easter eggs out. So I'm afraid he's going to get into a competition. He already knows where the Easter eggs are. So the little kiddos won't have a chance. And then so Mike may have to be here to kind of fend Jared off to make sure that he doesn't jump out there and grab up all the eggs. So. But no, and then again, ended up with, like I said, Mark Flake. I'll tell you, Mark being an executive broker like he is, you had just a phenomenal time with him. Yeah. Give us a little insight on.
Yeah, I tell you what, I have been an accidental landlord more often than I would like to. I didn't really understand about market timing, and so sometimes you end up with properties that you thought you were going to be able to sell. You have to kind of wait it out for the market.
You do.
And so that's a good chance to kind of test your ability to tolerate the risk and realities of being a landlord.
Oh, exactly.
So I've never minded it. However, I've always managed my own properties, but there's many, many times when I thought I really don't want to know people this well. I really am finding out too much about people that I really don't. And I loved it. And y'all, every single time looking back, it would be worth the 10% to pay somebody to not have to deal with them. And, the screening process. I mean, that's the benefit of using a property management organization like they have there is that you have screening capabilities that, for a person who has one or two, they don't really have access to that easily.
Right.
And it costs more.
Right.
And so, and this is a healthy renter market here.
It is.
I have always found that I prefer to have more expensive rentals. The reality is that more expensive rentals, though, do maybe stay open a little bit longer. And so that's when it's good to have somebody that has a ready supply of people coming through, or have a capability of marketing to particular, income levels.
And who better to do that than our good friends at Weichert?
I know. So they do offer a lot of services. So
well, they do. Yeah.
And definitely. And so, and one of the things that he kind of walked us through also was, do you have what it takes to be a landlord? Or a property investor.
No.
And what's your real goal with this? Because, and he said, it's really about asking the right questions that are going to find out whether you can fulfill your goals
Mm-hmm.
for your investment ideas, or
Sure.
I mean, and they can't necessarily answer those questions, but they can ask you the questions so that you can go to the tax professionals, or really kind of do some soul searching with your family and see if that's right for you, or your employment situation. Sometimes it makes sense to be not really, I hate to say passive investor, because if you say passive, that means something different on your tax return than it does to like the person who's actually investing.
Exactly.
But basically, because I mean, even though it feels passive to you as the investor, it's like, oh, I'm not doing this full time, I'm paying somebody to manage this property. You are still all in if something financially goes wrong with this, which that isn't the case with how they define it on your tax return. So just to clarify.
A, it can be a real money pit, but B, more importantly, to me, it's like when you have folks, as an example, who have, and I heard of some very nice numbers coming out of bonuses from Walmart this year, and hats off to that. That's a great thing. But those folks are looking to invest their money. Then all of a sudden, they're looking at, well, where do I put this into real estate? And if they're looking at real estate, have they really educated themselves?
Yeah, and there's the conversation of how much do I, invest in? Do I put 20% down? Do I take that whole bonus and put 20% down on a rental property every year?
Yeah.
In planning for when I retire, so I still have cash flow.
Exactly.
Or do you want to buy at the bottom of the market and then sell it when the market recovers, and take that money and do something that requires knowing people a little less. Such as, here's a mutual fund. I don't have to and clean out the garage.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I don't have to clean up the mess either.
So it's like really kind of deciding what that means for you.
Well, then you've got to have a place to relieve the stress of all of that if you invest. And so here it was, we finished up with a couple of great guests. We talked to our good friend David from Mojo Cycling, and talk about being focused. He's like, Michael, I have to take the world out of the picture, and I'm in the moment. And I'm like, how do you do that if the market is crashing? And, you lost your $2,000 a month renter out of your rental, but he's like, look, if you don't stay focused, then guess what? It's a wipeout. And so I sit here and I go, yes, I wish we were that clear when it got down to our goals and passions and things that we do, staying focused. Yeah.
He had some cool bikes.
He did. Those were phenomenal bikes.
Did he tell you what those cost?
Yes, he did. The Jameson that he had, which was that intro-level bike, was $589, and they also have a $489 or $400 version, a little cheaper than that one. However, his bigger bike, he said he's got some people that ride with him that are investing $10,000, $15,000
that
in a bike.
Blows me away. That blows me away.
But you know what? I did have to agree with him, and that was the issue on, look, if this is your passion, and if this is something you spend time at, then you want the right piece of equipment doing the right thing for you for those trails. And I'll tell you, he brought up something that's right down my alley, which is clothes. And so having been in the rags business for years, when he said it's like outfitting a suit, I'm sitting there, he said, Michael, when a person comes in my store and is looking for and having an interest in their first experience of getting on a bike, I'm sizing them up from their torso right on through. Shoulders, the whole 9 yards. And I was like, wow, I had no idea. But that makes sense.
Well, it does, and what they can really manage. And where are they really going to ride this thing?
Well, again.
You know how much my bike in my garage cost? $59.
$59, there you go.
Now, granted, it's been in my garage for like 20 years. I think I've ridden it 4 times. So it made sense for me to buy a $59 bike.
You know,
But
and now
maybe
with-
that's why I have only ridden it that many times.
There you go.
Maybe I should spend some more money.
Exactly. And the thing that I liked was, you know, they're continuing to service that bike and do the maintenance and all of those things.
Really?
And so,
That's very
you know,
cool.
and not only that, but you're getting educated on how to deal and ride on that bike, because that's when you're spending money on a bike, on golf clubs, on fishing, whatever the case may be, you want the right equipment to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're
Well,
done.
and we have
It goes in the garage.
We have amazing trails now for those of us who are lightweights who
Yes.
can't even imagine riding on dirt. Because clearly I've not ridden mine out of my driveway in a while.
Time to air up the tires.
I know, I
You know?
think I have to replace the tires. I was going, who do I know to help me replace my tires?
Well, take it down to Mojo. They may not laugh at you too much, but
Look at me. Do I look like I off-road? So, but yes, but I mean, look at what, I mean, around Lake Atalanta and Rogers and in Bentonville,
Bella
amazing
Vista.
woods that you can ride through.
Yes.
We are getting national recognition.
we are. And we have people here who are, you know, competing at state, national,
That's
world
right.
levels.
We're bringing shows here, or races.
Races here.
Events.
Events.
Events surrounding the bicycle community that are filling our hotels, and they're eating at our restaurants, and
Exactly.
they're spending money here so that we can afford less sales tax and things like that, so that we can support our fire and police protection, and so that we can continue to have good roads.
There you go. It's all how all that money that comes in supports our,
That's right.
our
I have
infrastructure.
I have a bit of trivia. Did you know?
Really?
Okay, so this week, on, I believe it was, is it Tuesday? What's today, Wednesday?
Today is Wednesday.
Maybe it was Monday. Monday.
Monday.
Monday, Frontier Airlines made a big announcement that they were going to do nonstop to Denver. Now, they are categorized as a low-cost provider. Of course, their banner said $39 to Denver, but I'm not sure what conditions get you a $35 flight to Denver. But my friend who immediately booked a flight said it was like $260. Which is still like not $450, which is what it costs to go here. Because, and it was so funny, the guy that came in to make the announcement, he was one of those people that kind of goes out and, you know, builds relationships, studies where their airline needs to go. He said, I was going to book my flight there, and I looked at the price, and I went, oh my gosh, that's not my budget to go here and do this announcement. And so he said, I'm going to do what everybody else does that flies to Denver out of Northwest Arkansas. I booked a ticket into Tulsa, and I drove 2 hours over. That right there is the Northwest Arkansas experience for
That
some of
is.
these cities.
That is. Well, you know, there's some good eating in Tulsa, so I can throw
There
it.
is some good eating.
there's
I
some
tell
good
you
eating
what,
in
though,
Tulsa.
a flight is not, a flight back here is yeah.
Well, you know.
So anyway, but yes, and did you know that you can check a bicycle? So a bicycle and skis on your airline flight, there is an additional cost, but people do that are going from one outdoor destination to another outdoor destination. So
I have seen a few with some nice carriers that those bikes go in.
That's right. That's right. So if you are an enthusiast and you want to go ride the mountains of Denver, because the Rockies and the Ozarks are like just alike, right?
Exactly.
Then you can take your bike with you.
And do that.
Your $10,000 bike.
Exactly.
Check it on the plane on your new Frontier Airlines flight direct to Denver.
Well, I think you recall back last year we had the folks that were carving out the trails around here on our show, and so that was very nice to have them to talk about, you know, how this all affects our tourism and everything else that comes into
That's right.
this area. So, but that being said, we then finished up with Heather with Juice Plus and had a fantastic experience understanding. My goodness, I'm glad she brought the board. That was a real visual.
That Tower Garden, I keep saying I'm going to have one of those. I don't yet. I really love the farmers market. But yeah, in the winter, I start kind of scrambling a little bit for farmers market goods, and to be able to just like go to your garage or your patio, or I mean, to be able to harvest out of your house like year round, and it's really amazing when you get into food that you harvest right there out of your own garden, whether it's a tower garden or outdoor on your patio or however you garden. It's amazing how little food that it really takes to provide the same nutrition. And so while you go, oh, well, I don't know if I can, my family of two, which is what I've got now, my family of me and my husband, you know, oh, that doesn't look like that much lettuce. But it's amazing how little lettuce, when you're harvesting it right there at the plant, you need to get the same nutrition as what you would buy in the store.
Which you'd buy in the store, yeah. Well, and the other thing, of course, I get amazed about is this little blurb that you all do for your band. What is it? Home by 8?
Home by Daylight.
Home by Daylight, that's right.
You know, it could be Home by 8. Yeah. It depends where we're playing. Heck, if we do that nursing home circuit, we're going to be home by lunchtime.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, and what was funny was just this last week, Jeremy and I had the opportunity to visit with Believers Baptist Church over in Rogers, and got to see Lawrence Jamal, as well as it was fabulous as far as I had an event to attend to afterward, as far as right after our interview. But that being said, both of those guys in practice were phenomenal, and I really think the word through hip hop music today is what's reaching out to the youth and the young folks of today to get them there.
Context is important.
It is.
The message can be delivered
and
so many ways.
Yeah, the folks at Believers, is your mic doing well, or
well,
is it?
Yeah, I kind of got one bar on my mic. I'm kind of going, okay, we need
and we better wrap this up. Well, I'll tell you anyway. You know what was funny was out of that little video blurb I did, we got 400 views on that thing, and so yeah. And I'm like, here I am, a stuffy old fart in the middle of two of these, you know, hip hop guys,
like really cool people.
Really cool people.
You are a stuffy old.
I am. I'm a stuffy old geezer. And then you know, here I am. I'm going in a suit, and I'm going, my gosh, where's Carrie? No, she's over at where? Where were you?
Okay, I was at Leva.
Where were you?
We were playing a new venue, and setup is always a little stressful because you're looking at the space and going, oh my gosh, how are we going to do this? And then there were stairs. Okay.
Did Tom melt at the stairs?
I mean, we'd look at the stairs and go, oh, stairs. Because, I mean, the unglamorous thing about being in a band.
Home by Daylight.
The unglamorous thing about being in a band is schlepping equipment. Load in, load out. That's what they pay you for.
That's right.
You know, drop money in the tip jar because that's what you are paying to see. We would play for free. It's this load in, load
out. And the stairs.
And the stairs. Sometimes the hours, but we've been playing so much restaurant stuff that it's early, so we're like in bed at least by 11. However, but yeah, so we were playing a new venue, and I was just like, it is so stressful sometimes when you don't know where you're going to plug everything in and if everything's going to fit.
And how far was it from you where we were at?
2 miles.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, 2 miles can take a long time.
Oh, and that 5:30 traffic in Rogers, it can just.
Yeah, well. Okay, so I busted. I would have really liked to meet the guys.
Well, you would have been a much better interviewer.
I'm sure you were awesome.
Well, you know, what can I sit there and interview guys that I don't know on hip-hop music, but they were fantastic, and they helped me out. And then, of course, the funniest thing, the best laugh I had of the whole evening was getting...
to rap?
Well, no, that would have been even funnier. Jeremy would have stayed around longer for that, but no, I would have lost the crowd at that point. So we had the lady that helped organize the event. She was there, and young girl, and at the end of the day, she was fantastic, but she was sweating bullets to be on with us, and she was just getting all sort of nervous, and her makeup was, you know, starting to get a little moisture there, and so anyway, and here it is. She's a young lady, and so it was just funny. Awesome. She did fantastic, and so hats off to her and really all of Believers Baptist Church and all that they did, as well as welcoming us to interview both Ezekiel Garcia and Lawrence Jamal, so that was
That's
fun.
very cool.
That was very fun, and both of those guys put up with me. So, well, based on that, I think we're going to wrap up, and I'm excited to have yet another great show that we did. And one other quick thing to note, just a little bit of trivia again here, I should say trivia, but just a little great information. We had just in the month of ending up March, coming into April, we had 6,900 reaches on our program.
That's exciting.
And over 2,000 viewers to the program. So we did fantastic, and that help came from you and everybody that appears on the show. But more importantly, behind the scenes, when talk about heart palpitations, when Jeremy has them, when I throw him a curveball.
Yeah, I tell you what,
You know,
Jeremy does a fantastic job with wrangling all the technology issues.
You know,
and just the stuff he's thinking ahead on all the time. So
his IT experience, his video production experience, all of it for Web Untied, fantastic group that they are. And one of these days I'll see his wife and kids again after they wrangled me to go to Wednesdays. So now it's like, here we are, and they disappeared. So it's like, so I have to get that little shot in because it was so funny here a while back. His lovely wife comes to me, Mr. Finke, would it be okay if we went from Mondays to Wednesdays? And all of a sudden I said, sure. Well, all of a sudden there was this deer in the headlight look, and a few days later she says, I didn't think you'd move that fast.
we're agile. We're small business people. We're agile. We can move quick.
And then 2 weeks later, Jeremy's like, well, we're working on getting the rest of the group here.
Well, all I was thinking was, Monday at a tech company is a really busy place.
Oh, it is. It's nuts.
Maybe from her end, that was. I mean, if she's running the office and she's fielding calls and she's going, I need Jeremy on Monday.
Yeah.
That was probably really the issue. It's probably Wednesday's fine. And,
and now Wednesdays, their business is picking up so much. I mean, if you want a great group of IT people that know everything from A to Z, developing websites, doing all the IT stuff for small, medium, or large size businesses. I mean, and this guy's global. I mean, here it was a while back, I was talking to him, he's on a plane to Honduras or whatever. I'm like, I'm hoping they're serving cocktails on that plane, because I'm like, Honduras? I'm not sure I'd want to go to Honduras, but hey, there's, there's business happening in Honduras.
Well, yeah, it's tourist business. If it weren't for the boats.
Exactly. Well, we'll have to get Carrie on to talk about that, and the boats, the catamarans,
well,
and
yeah,
stuff
it's
like
more
that.
like the cruise ships.
Yeah.
His little catamaran. We should get him on here. He'd be
We
fun
should.
to talk to about the catamaran.
We should.
Now that he is Carrie, I don't know how many.
Is he
guys
Carrie
know
retired
Jensen.
now, or?
No, he just retired from Fridays. So. Well, I mean, he is retirement age, but he loves to continue working. We're talking about Carrie Jensen, who is on staff with Rick McLeod Farmers Insurance. So, anyway, he has always been very active in the community, and he has recently decided that he and his wife would go to travel to go see their new grandson or grandchild. I think it's a son.
Yes.
In Kansas, and he would like to be doing, more sailing on Friday and things like that, and just so they can travel and do more stuff together.
Who wouldn't love to do that?
Life is short, and he's worked so hard his whole career. So so he's retired from working on Fridays.
Well, there you go. Well, we're going to wrap up with our sponsors to thank them. Our good friends here at Village on the Park. Mike put up with me today. Web Untied, of course, our good friend Jeremy, of course, and Music Works, who provides a lot of our equipment for us here. KR Promotions, AMP Electric, Profile by Sanford, our good friend Dr. Charlie Barton at Barton Consulting, Dr. Lee and Natalie Horine with Ignite Chiropractic. Of course, Carrie, Soar with Eagles, can't help but have you here, even though as much as I twist your arm. One of these days we'll get Tom on and talk about the little venture he's been doing with his productions and band and all that.
That ought to be good.
It should be. I think I should interview Tom and talk to him about
I think you should.
See about the lady behind the band, what's making the band. It certainly isn't him. Our good friend, Mr. Cool, Dr. Cool, Steve with Simply Cool. Johnny Brusco's, can't beat a pizza at Johnny Brusco's. Meteor Guitar Gallery, Les, I always love running into Les. He always helps out. Kumon Learning Center, Nuclear Health and Fitness. In fact, you played at Meteor Guitar, I believe.
I
you
love
opened for
playing
a band
that
over there.
stage.
Yes, yes.
I love playing that stage.
That's pretty swanky.
Yeah, Meteor is amazing.
How can we forget? Look what Carla provided us with
Look at
enchanted
these.
designs today.
Are these poppies?
I think they are. This was fantastic. She's always doing something neat. And of course, our good friend Rita Spicer with Spicer Insurance Agency. And finally, of course, time not being on our side some days. But we're going to wrap up. And certainly we enjoyed having everybody today. Again, I go back to David with Mojo Cycling. What an exciting time to talk about cycling. The bike trails, everything here in Northwest Arkansas. Well, our time is up. Carrie, thank you for another great program. Neighbors, until next week, good morning, neighbor, and we'll see you next time.